Hello, everybody. How are you? Hi, Nelson. This is the one time you shouldn't be muted. You're the guest today. I'm so glad you dressed up for the occasion.
Yeah. I just put another shirt on, two shirts.
That's wonderful. Just take them off. See,
Yeah.
I mean, if people want to see fitness, we said money and muscles for the name of the show, so therefore let's see the muscles. Oh, there's Bo. All right, so we got that instead.
Thank you, Bo.
Hey.
Take one for the team.
Oh, he has. Anyway, so we were going to let a couple of other people get in for a second. Now that we're getting it going, did the link work to get in, guys?
Yes.
Yep, perfect. Okay. Participants, because we are trying to fix that. So participants, invite, copy link.
I sent the Zoom link on my social media, so there may
Oh,
be.
good. You don't have friends. What are you talking about? Lies. Lies.
They showed up.
Did they?
They're here.
Yay. Everyone's here, actually. Okay, good. So make sure I'm somewhere. And I want to put the link on the video so people can actually come and join the conversation. But I think it's on Firefox, and Firefox is really slow.
That's my thing.
Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know, we are big fans of alliteration here at Investor Party. So we decided to name this section called Money and Muscles. Although we could have also called it Fitness and Finance. I wasn't sure which was sexier, so I'm choosing both right now. We're just gonna make it happen. So Nelson, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're a longtime listener, first time caller.
Yeah, I know.
So tell us a little bit more. Tell us who you are and why I decided to have your ass on this show.
Other than helping your ass out and forming an organization, kind of important. But my name is Nelson. I wasn't always a real estate investor. I actually found myself working in tech for about 10 to 12 years. I'm based here in Silicon Valley. But back in the day, starting around 2002, 2003, that's when I started training and teaching fitness classes at 24-Hour Fitness. And I've always had a passion for, and I'll explain why I even had a passion for fitness that long ago. But when you're working in Silicon Valley, when you live in Silicon Valley, you end up working in Silicon Valley and working in tech. So I found myself developing websites and in search engine optimization for quite a long time, for almost more than a decade. And then it was around 27, 26, around that age group where I started feeling empty. I started feeling like, hey, I don't want to sit behind a computer for that long. I want to get back to the community. My heart is in somewhere else. So after a couple of years of soul searching, after talking to my colleagues and my friends and my family, what I should be doing with my life, they said that, you've always had a passion for fitness. Why don't you go into fitness full time and become a personal trainer? And I said, you know what, maybe I should. It would still take another 3 years until I actually had the opportunity to take over my colleague's gym. And to be honest, underneath that, the real reason why I left my marketing agency was because I had this one client who I just hated, and I was burnt out and I wanted to leave altogether. So I found that opportunity to go into management. And my first year of entering into fitness, it was a big reality check. So a typical salary when you're working in Silicon Valley, you are instantly earning $100,000 or more. It's instantly, almost no matter where you are, 6 digits is pretty normal. But when I entered the industry, when I left the industry though, that was a reality check. I took a 30% pay cut in order to pursue my passion. And it took me about a year of constant hustling, finding clients, teaching group fitness classes. Then I got back to the same level that I'm at earning tech. But the more that I progressed pursuing my passion, there was a major disconnect. So going back, when I was still working in tech, I had graduated with a degree in my undergraduate in journalism and minored in business, but I graduated in 2007 with my MBA. So just academically, I'm trained in business. So fast forward, now I'm in the fitness world and I'm a personal trainer, not quite really utilizing my graduate degree. People have to understand, I actually learned about fitness just through certifications and taking classes on my own. I'm pretty much self-taught, but more and more personal trainers are quitting on a regular basis. So if you guys aren't familiar with the industry itself, it's actually pretty challenging. The attrition rate is very, very high. About 80% of personal trainers will quit the industry entirely within the first 2 years. It is one of those typical career paths where you're constantly exchanging time for money. So when I entered in the industry full time, I was working with my colleagues who were several years younger than me. They were professionally trained in kinesiology, sports medicine, anything that related to physical education. Really talented people, wanted to give back, and very, very smart. I respect them, but they were constantly burning out like crazy. I mean, they were here one day, they quit and relocated to a place in the country where the cost of living is obviously cheaper than the Bay Area. And these are my colleagues that I work with and who I adore. And it was just really, really odd and almost unethical when I took a step back and started looking at what the difference was, why I was actually doing well and increasing my salary, whereas my colleagues who were professionally trained in the sciences, rightfully so, and we have the same certifications, we understand the same skills, sales skills, but they were quitting regularly. So something was up. And I took a step back and I started analyzing that they never had the business acumen. They never understood finance. They never understood cash. The message that they're taught in terms of their academic cycle is, if you want to make it in the fitness industry in terms of business, all you need to know is sales and marketing. Those are the two skills. So as long as you are able to get clients, we will teach you how to get 8 to 10 new clients per month, and you just have to train these people and become a personal trainer. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Everything is taught. You're going to be fine. Entering in our training program, we'll teach you how to be an online coach. You're going to be fine. So it's all of these promises of closing and selling, but what they don't see is they're working for the dollar and they're getting revenue. No one actually talked to them about taxes. No one talked to them that there's a difference between revenue and income. No one talked to them about there's other ways to make money work for you, or investing, or compounded interest, or all of these things that actually will help make your life easier. But I did. So I wasn't quitting. Now fast forward maybe like about 3 years, 2018, I just felt another time in my life that I felt empty, and I felt that I can make a difference again. So I ended up transitioning from my personal training business, which is called Coach Nelly Toriano LLC. I actually developed an LLC, which if you ever come across a personal trainer, chances are hands down that person does not operate a limited liability company. They usually sell services underneath their own name. But I changed the structure of my business, and I wrote a book called For the Fit but Poor Personal Trainer, a guide on how to train money, not muscle, to grow. It takes inspiration from Robert Kiyosaki, but I take everything that I've learned from my MBA and explain the product life cycle, the economic cycles, explain the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017, and I map out everything that the fitness professional needs to know about business, legitimately know about business, not just sales and marketing, because those are two departments of a business. You need to know everything. So I explain finance, accounting, financial literacy in fitness terms. And so now I have an education program, and my whole goal for Coach Nelly Toriano, my own company, my own LLC, is to turn personal trainers into successful business owners and investors. And I'm self-published. My book is on Amazon, Kindle, as well as Audible, paperback as well. And currently I mentor about 4 to 5 young personal trainers within the age demographic about 21 to 27. So that's what I do in my spare time. Kind of came full circle in terms of fitness and understanding business and filling in a gap in education. I personally felt I'm at the age right now that it is my personal mission and my unique contribution to give back in terms of philanthropy, to fill in education where I think it definitely needs transformation. I think it's unethical. I think it's immoral. I think it's just silly that young people are told this narrative, and especially in my industry, at least, is reinforced this narrative that you just have to get that degree, you have to get that job, then you're going to be fine and everything's going to be taken care of you. You're going to be successful. Social Security will take care of you. Pensions might be available. You just have to close more sales and all of this. And when I'm explaining to my mentees, because that they are within that age demographic, I explain and I walk them through, take your phone out, look up what the S&P 500 is. Let's take a look at the news. Let's take a look at what the unemployment rate is and what that actually means for the industry. So a lot of them, they don't know that if they come across a gym and let's say, it's such a stereotype. One, there's so many stereotypes in my industry. If you see a gym that is open, that doesn't mean that they're doing well. What it means is that they're just open and that's it. But what you don't see is their PP loans might be running out, their SBA loans might be running out. They're operating at 50% capacity, so their membership declined. They're entering in the slow season when the fiscal year, when the end of December, that they're probably going to get laid off at that point. They're doing all of these unethical things, but what you don't see is how much they're actually spending, because all you see is the actual members and you see revenue. Now I'm training these young mentees, you have to understand revenue and expenses, but I'm training them to have a more macro view of how finance works, and then actually walking them through all 4 quadrants, walking them through the entrepreneurial operating system, teaching them how to take their W-2 income, because some of them still have W-2 income. Very few have 1099. Now they were converted to W-2, but also teaching them, because of the way the economy is going in the next 10 years, you are now required to be more business savvy than your predecessors. You have to be more financially savvier than me, than people before me, because you're walking into an economy that it's literally never happened before. And this is what you need to know to prepare yourself. Some of them are dumbfounded. They have no idea what a net worth statement is. They get berated by their parents and like, oh, you need to do something. You need to pay down your student loans. And they're all like, well, yes, I know. But I'm actually the person who actually reaches out. I'm like, do you know how? And no one actually sat down with people in Generation Z and say like, did anyone explain to you the pros and cons of a 401k? And they're like, no, I just signed my papers. I have no idea what I'm doing. I will actually sit down with them and explain to them, okay, this is your adjusted gross income. This is how much to calculate 8% that is going to FICA. And this is minus all your expenses and this is your state tax. And I'll give them the websites. It's pretty easy. And now let's talk about how much income that you actually have. Let's talk about how to populate the net worth statement, take all your cash and cash equivalents and start reinvesting it into all of the other items in your asset column, because this is what's going to help prepare you. And this will make you more stable. My mission is that if I can get that message out to more and more personal trainers, then maybe, just maybe, the attrition rate wouldn't be so high. Maybe those personal trainers wouldn't be quitting on such a regular basis. Maybe they would actually spend less time trying to be annoying and trying to close people who walk into a gym and try to get your money. They would actually understand sustainability and how to leave a legacy within the fitness industry. So that's what I'm doing. So that's one line of business. Now, backtrack.
One line of business.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So that takes care of Coach Nelly Toriano. So that's kind of gives you an idea of where I'm at and why. Now, backtrack. So a couple more reasons why I took my career in this direction. So the main reason why I chose fitness as a platform, because it's really not common to find someone who works in fitness and talk about finance and talk about Robert Kiyosaki altogether. You don't really find me, and you don't really find a lot of personal trainers or even fitness professionals who will tell you more, hey, to be successful in business, you have to understand law and you have to understand finance. Usually it's just sales, right? Well, back in the day, I don't know if any of you guys know, so I'm gay. You want to surprise?
Really? Hold on 1 second.
Yeah. But I didn't.
Wait. No,
I didn't come out of the closet until like later on in college. So I'm born here.
Really, that's not stereotypical.
It just happens. So back in college, I live in this wonderful world of San Francisco. So San Francisco is a bubble onto its own. Back in 1999, 2000, I was still closeted. And when I was living in San Francisco itself is still currently one of the epicenters for drug use. So we have a very high opioid, heroin, meth addiction. And it doesn't just apply to people of, the homeless or any type of stereotypes that you have. I live in an area where money is just runs rampant. So usually there are countless of studies where even the high spend, high net worth tech people are drug addicts also, but they tend to use cocaine instead. It's easier to hide. So just the Bay Area alone, you can easily look it up. We have a very high drug use. So back in the day, it was no different. But what made 1999 and 2000 around that era different is that San Francisco Bay Area was the epicenter of the rave scene. So Mars and Mystery and BT and the glow sticks and the Jinko jeans and everything that glowed in the dark, that was the peak. And I was at the ripe age of 18 and 19 years old. I'm closeted. I am going through the typical emotional roller coaster of what it's like to deal with sexuality, my coming of age story. Living in a big city, I'm trying to go to school, and just, if anyone can remember what it's like to be 18 and 19 years old, the world doesn't make sense to begin with. Tack on sexuality, tack on money, and then suddenly you're introduced to, hey, here's ecstasy. It's gonna make you feel good for a couple hours. Of course, I took a kin to it. So I was addicted for about 2 years, and then there was pockets of time within those 2 years, honest to God, I don't remember it. You can ask me and I'll go through, like, run my mind through tests. There's pockets of time I don't remember.
That's common.
Yeah, so
those of you who are not as gay as Nelson is, what you need to understand is that drug use is very prevalent in the United States, but especially in our community, because there's a lot of denial, a lot of fear, a lot of prejudice. And that's one of the things we were seeking to change. But the fact that you were experiencing this back in the Bush administration, think of it that way, people, it's that long ago. Yes, she that old. But you were going through at that point in time, taking all this candy and enjoying yourself to try to understand who you are. The reason why people took it was to feel good and then to forget, which is why not having any memory is not surprising. What happened next?
MDMA was, it honestly felt good and I was happy. And people understand it's like you take your regular MDMA, but typically it's laced with either cocaine or speed. I really like speed. I was partying a whole lot. And in the party scene, that's when I fell in love with this boy. I'll call him Jay. And he used drugs also, but since he was my first boyfriend, of course I thought I was in love, and everything is falling into place. Life makes sense. So he lived on the corner of Market and Castro. And so I got involved in the Castro scene. Castro scene, it is the gay mecca. It's like you're super gay. And so yeah. I got caught up. And he had his own internal battles. And I remember I was dropping him off at his apartment, and I said something that triggered him, and he became volatile. He swung, and his right fist meet my left eye. And till this day, I don't remember, and I wasn't quick enough to say something. He stormed out of the car and ran up to the apartment, and for the next and it was the middle of the relationship, because I remember still staying with him because he said he loved me. And I was young and impressionable, so I stayed with him. Though I was still wearing sunglasses indoors, and I was working at Starbucks at the time, and so people knew what was going on. His drug use worsened, and it evolved into shooting up, and that was the beginning of me finally realizing the situation I was in. So at the time, my drug use started getting worse. If you are familiar with it, if you take MDMA, there's always going to be single stack, double stack, triple stack. And that's just a concentration of how much drugs are within that one pill. They get more expensive. It's $20, $30, and $40. I remember at an outdoor rave in Golden Gate Park. Again, I don't remember how much I smoked. I don't remember if it was laced with something. If the hash was purple and green, it's probably laced with something. But I remember waking up and looking up at the sky, and the EDM was going on and people were dancing around me, and I didn't know anybody. He wasn't there. No friends were there. No family was there. And I remember just crying. And I remember I couldn't stop crying. That was the day that I had to leave. I had to get my ass physically back up. And if I don't, I'm gonna die. So a couple months later, that's when I, based on my counselor at the time, and she said that I should go to the gym. I said, why? She said, you'll be healthy. I'm like, I guess. So I went to the gym and I got on the elliptical and I was coughing up a lung and I hated it. And I didn't have any workout gear. So I was like just in sweats and the sweats that I usually sleep in. And I was on 10 minutes on elliptical and was like, this is bullshit. I can't stand this shit. But she said to keep going. So I kept going. And then sooner or later, 10 minutes ended up being 11 minutes and 11 minutes being 12 minutes. And then I got to the point, hey, maybe I should lift a dumbbell. Maybe I should go to the weight room and do something or stretch. I don't know. I didn't know nothing about fitness at the time. So at some point in that year-long journey, I don't know when it happened, but it was finally, I was able to look in the mirror and finally acknowledge myself, finally look at my face and say, like, I'm proud of you. At the time, I had already broken ties with Jay. I hadn't talked to him. It was kind of hard because that also meant I was physically not going to the Castro district, though I was living in San Francisco at the time. So I actually had to stop communication with that whole network. That's hard. San Francisco is not a big city. I had to focus 100% on my health, on my happiness. And I never went to rehab, but I read every self-help book that you could think of. I saw every counselor. If you offered free counseling sessions, I went to it. And I mean, I was so young, I didn't know what I was doing. And when I explained my story, the road to sobriety, it was never one thing that could help me. It was just basically a collection of things. Eventually, I got to the point of forgiving him and forgiving myself. And actually, what ultimately made the difference was removing shame from all the words that was coming out of my mouth. Removing shame from, hey, saying that I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I'm a victim of domestic violence. Shame from, hey, this is my past. I was addicted to drugs. And it felt freeing. So I went on this journey of fitness and always been committed to the gym because it saved my life. So when I got to the point of now, fast forward, and I'm doing fitness professionally, it's only right that I give back to the community and give back to the industry who literally saved my life. And if that meant that I had to create my own company, advocate for a piece of education to fill in the blanks, help others sustain in an industry that maybe it helped to save them, maybe it helped save their lives. Maybe if we wouldn't have so many personal trainers quit, we can make a difference for other people. I know how badly I needed fitness in my own life. It couldn't have that same intensity for someone else. So if I can help people stay within the industry longer, maybe we can make a bigger difference. And so that's why I feel so passionate about that specific industry, why I'm so passionate about personal training, why I'm so passionate about financial education. And so to bridge that, so that kind of caught you guys up to 2018. So I'll explain how I got here. So I randomly picked up Audible and I listened to Rich Dad Poor Dad like everybody else. And that led to Cash Flow Quadrant, and that led to a series of books. And suddenly I found myself in Elite Legacy and Anderson Law Group and and so I was trying to wholesale. So this happened. I started trying to figure out RIA Black Book last year, Q4, trying to. And then based on all of these people say like, well, if you have a question, just go get a mentor. Okay, I got a mentor. And then still gets kind of confused. And they said, well, if you still have any questions about, how to do this whole real estate thing, then maybe you should go onto Facebook and just pose your question. Well, I came across a lead. This lead was a local area, and she wholesale, the strategy didn't work for her property, but she had a question about another property. So I was talking to her, and it ended up being a JV in a totally different city. And I don't know anything about joint ventures at all. So this is when I finally got the balls to post something on Facebook. And I just posted out there, like, do you have any information on how to do a JV. And I got all of these posts or responses on my posts of like, oh, you shouldn't be doing it if it's going to be brand new. You should really trust these people. And everything started becoming confusing. Out of the blue, there was this one random white guy in Florida named Jacob. And he messaged me and he's all like, hey, do you need help? And I was like, I don't know. Do you have time? Can you explain something to me? And he was all, yeah. He called me buddy. He's like, yeah, buddy, let's go on the phone. I'm like, okay, buddy. And so we got on the phone and I explained to him what's going on. And he said, well, it's going to be a lot for you. And he explained to me how I should respond, whatever. And I was like, okay, well, thanks for that. So the lead went away and I kind of moved on. And then I don't know, he kind of checked up on me, and a week later, and he just asked me how I was doing, and I was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just fine. It's good. We're good. He invited me to these calls called Investor Party, and he's all like, hey, I want to invite you to these calls happen on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think if they're free, you should join on the Zoom call. I think you could benefit from it. I'm like, okay, whatever. And at that point, like for many investors in real estate, we get bombarded with emails and solicitations like, join my webinar. I'll teach you how to do this. Join this RIA. Have you taken this? We get like 10 emails from everybody. So I thought this Jacob guy was just another solicitor inviting me to another webinar. I'm like, well, I got nothing going on. My gyms have closed at this point, so I'll join. So I go on my first one and I'm quiet, and for the first several I'm quiet, and I started noticing something's a little different. Apparently this is not a RIA. I thought it was. And when I noticed and I started looking around, I was like, wow, this is a really diverse group of people. Of course I looked Jacob up and I was like, this guy's hella gay. Oh my God. So hey, whatever, he's smart. So I'm just gonna wing it, okay. I was like, you wave that rainbow flag, boy.
That's
right. All right. So he started talking, and I was like, this guy, he's a real estate investor. He's so not professional.
I wore a button-up shirt for you today, asshole.
And then it ended up being things like this. People started like talking and telling jokes and laughing. And I was like, this is not a RIA that I'm used to in Silicon Valley. Usually in Silicon Valley, they're like uptight and they were super intimidating. I have to let you know, if you ever join the San Jose RIA over here, it's $500 a year. And apparently that's really expensive. I didn't know that. Someone else told me. So I kind of got hooked, and I was like, well, these investors, the more I get to know them, one, they're really diverse. They're really funny. Yeah, I'll come back on Wednesday, and yeah, I'll come back on Friday, and starting getting to know people and started knowing these entrepreneurs and investors, and everyone has a story, everyone has a background, everyone has a purpose, everyone wants to develop their own for-profit business, everyone's looking for financial freedom. Mostly for the common thing is that they want, for their families, they want financial freedom for them. I'm like, I'm aligned with that. Yeah, I could identify with it. And what made it really different was people were sharing what purpose they want to, or their purpose about giving back. And I was like, you guys are philanthropists too? You actually want to like do stuff? I do too. And so I just gravitated toward this group. And yeah, and then suddenly this white guy Jacob asked me to be a guest on Wednesday, share my story. So yeah, I'm now officially a personal trainer, educator, real estate investor. I'm a philanthropist. I give back to the community. I want to help other fitness professionals understand what it takes to be successful, actually understand the economy. I'm on a mission to change the educational system. Again, I still think it's highly unethical and highly immoral. We don't prepare Generation Z for the next 10 years. It's just not the right narrative to tell them, go get a job, when people are literally people are literally unemployed. Gyms are closing. If they're not closed, they will be closed. And we have representatives in my industry at Congress asking for a bailout. It's not right. So that's what Coach Toriano is doing, and that's what I'm doing.
What I love is that you're trying to do something to not only get back, but you're looking forward, and you're helping those who are behind you get ahead. It's not about becoming dependent on yet another employee or on a government which, frankly, does not give a damn about you, whether you are a Republican or a Democrat. They don't see you. they see a mass. And what
Yeah.
you're doing is giving people the tools to break away from that. And I think it's amazing. I really do.
Thank you. I love mentoring, and I love talking to Generation Z. The people who I am mentoring right now, I got all of them reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, The 4 Hour Work Week, Jensen Chero, How You're a Badass at Making Money. So I told them eventually you're going to read Napoleon Hill, but honestly to God, it's kind of boring. But you have to read it because everyone read it. So just accept it. It's like a textbook, okay?
It really is.
PMA.
I get the audiobook, right?
PMA.
You get the audiobook, at least you can listen to it when you go to sleep. You know, and you can kind of absorb
one
it.
chapter,
Osmosis.
that one chapter when it was talking about sexual power or something. It was like chapter, oh, there you go, chapter 7. It was chapter 7. I remember that because that was like, okay. And I'm talking to Generation Z, and it's so weird to talk to them because they people constantly bash them. People constantly say like, you're always on TikTok, you're always on Instagram, and if you're fitness within that generation, if you're a female, you're always posing your butt, which they do. Or if you're a male, you're always taking your shirt off and you're always flexing, blah, 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 blah. But when you actually look behind the scenes, and I know this because I've worked in the industry, personal trainers are so burnt out. So in the fitness industry, if you're a personal trainer, you either have clients between 6 a.m. up to 8:30, then you have a break, then you have your lunch hour clients, you have a break, and then you have your peak hours. On the weekends, you're working in the mornings, but you never work in the evenings or afternoons. So technically your workday is anywhere between 14 to 16 hours with very long breaks. But again, these are people who are trying to live in an apartment in Silicon Valley. They automatically, no one will ever ask them, how much are you in debt? No one actually asks them, how are you paying that back? Because the more that I start improving people in Generation Z, they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're so young, experiencing the same emotions that we have all been through, on top of knowing they're never going to afford a house. So that's their mindset. So I'm like teaching them, okay, there are other ways to get money, and there are other ways to fulfill and achieve the dreams that you've always wanted. It just won't be in the way that your parents told you it would work, because it won't. Don't bother getting a job. You have to have fluency in all 4 quadrants.
I love how you said that, which is really very, very cool. But what's interesting is when it comes, so one reason I wanted Nelson on the show is because we have very similar backgrounds. I was also a fitness instructor. I taught Zumba, and told you, gay, so don't be surprised about it. I also was a professional dancer for 15, 18 years before I learned about investing and getting everything going. And trying to combine the two, it was always a little odd because I saw how people in my industry as well were hustling hard all the time. And if you were really, really good, then you were working from like, you would start practice. My typical day was I would get up at like, keep in mind, I go until 10, you teach until 10. So I get up at like 9, 10 o'clock. I was at rehearsal by 10:45, rehearse until noon. Then I would teach, we had our meetings, whatever, I would teach from 1 until 10 straight through. Then I go home and do it all over again the next day. And where I'd have more rehearsal, or we'd have a show, and we have the weekend shows with the competitions. And so you're always doing something, right? And you're exhausted because there are only so many calories that you can possibly burn in a day. And so if I have to think afterwards and try to learn something that requires reading a book about something as boring as numbers and money and reflection, oh my God, I would much rather someone pass me a vodka or hand me a joint, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you so much. On to the next. If you can relate to that, let me know in the chat box or say hello on Facebook. But the point is, these are industries that are very, very physical. And when you're doing that, you're always working on that aspect. Now, the benefit of being in a physical industry is when you are being physical, you're very optimistic. When things are going good, they're great. And you feel like you're high and you feel like you're just on top of the world. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And then when you're sitting around and clients cancel because you are the first disposable expense. They will get rid of you if they can't afford something, it comes between you and something for their kid, you're gone. It comes between you and the rent, you're gone. It doesn't matter. You are always disposable. And I hated that feeling. Did you find that to be the case, Nelson?
Absolutely. It's so physically exhausting. It's so physically demanding. And it was kind of annoying when I was teaching group classes and the students were like, how come you're not working out with us? Well, because I have 5, 6, 7 classes a day. I'm physically tired. I don't know how else to explain that. I just want to sit. I need a break. I'm on the clock.
I don't have enough Gatorade to please you people. All right, walk off. So I get that. So, and one thing that I love that you're doing, and I want to help support. And Carlos, I think you can. I know Carlos is a dancer. He's on here. Autumn, are you still here, honey?
I am.
Oh, can you relate to any of this, sweetheart?
Look, I was just typing this long story out, so excuse me while I.
She's like, I'm trying to make all this work. Yeah, okay, well, perfect. So Autumn's also a dancer. She's based in Hawaii. So there are a few people in my community who are actually trying to change their lives and go to something more. And I want to congratulate the two of you for being 2 of the 3 that I know that have done this. So good job. There's a need for people that need that. We have a duty to give back to our industries so that we can show them there's a better way. Not that they have to do what we're doing, but just to become more educated. So if they are business owners or they are an employee, it doesn't matter, they can make better decisions. So they can pursue their art and their passion without sacrificing their well-being for the rest of their life, right? No matter what happens, no matter how well I dance or how hot I look naked or how much muscle Bo has on his tank top, at the end of the day, this is all going to be, told you I set you up. At the end of the day, what's going to happen is your body's going to become worm food. Mm-hmm. Think about it. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. So if you're spending your time just doing something like that, what are you leaving behind besides fertilizer? I know it's harsh. I know it's not pretty. I know it's not painting a pretty picture about investing or dancing or working out, or it's nothing like that, right? But it's the truth. So if you invest that just a little bit of that time you're putting in there, and you put it into your mind, and then you take your mind and you put some action behind it, what do you leave behind? Well, Nelson's creating a program which will train more people. He's already talked about Gen Z. We're creating nonprofits, we're creating businesses. Those are legacies that can continue. And I think that's really impressive. I think it's really important.
So in my coaching program, when I'm taking on new personal trainers, especially within that age group, I'm pretty straightforward and ask them, okay, we're going to go through your entrepreneurial operating system. This is how money works, but let's talk about where do you see yourself in life? And let's not just only talk about the industry and your fitness, because for the most part, there's going to be a point in your life where your body will change and will probably be at 30 years old. And once you go past 40, it will change even more so. And suddenly you have cracks in your body and your joints will pop and you have no idea where that sound came from. So it happens. And so that's just the way the body works. And you know it because it's in our textbook. However, when I started taking on these new personal trainers, I have to explain to them, we're going to not only talk about fitness, but we're going to be talking about your net worth statement. So I have to be pretty upfront. On your Instagram, everything looks great. Everything looks fine. Everyone's always working out and smiling. So I'll be upfront. How much do you have in your student loan? And almost all of them is somewhere between 20 and 30,000. And I said, I get it. I get it. Two of them, they just got married and they're still living with their parents. And the more I probe, they're thinking about, I don't know how I'm going to do this and support my new wife and start a family. And I asked one of them, if you're not working, do you have medical insurance? He said, no, I don't. So the more that I gotten to know these people and what really, really gets into their emotions is that underneath of having a lot of clients and being a really good personal trainer, they have real life emotional issues that we all kind of can identify with. It really sucks to have those handcuffs that are called student loans. So why don't we talk about how to take all the money that you get from the fitness industry, from this particular job? You don't have to just be an online coach. and actually don't, because the online coaching, all services went online. So now the online space is super saturated. You not only have to develop a different product or service, but your mindset has to be different than everyone else. I don't know how many personal trainers or fitness professionals out there are actually shorting stocks right now. And I asked one of my mentees, do you know how to make money in a falling market? And she says, what's shorting a stock? I said, I made $1,000. Let me teach you. And so suddenly she lights up and she's like, I didn't know this was even possible. I was like, yeah, because people don't
talk about it.
Yeah, it's not. They want you to be a good personal trainer and go get a job that doesn't exist.
It's so funny because it's also, I also need to take responsibility, because when I was dancing, for those of you who don't know, I get a bit obsessive when I go after a goal. So I won't stop until I achieve what I want, but then when I achieve it, I'm done. I move on. Okay, good, I did it, next. It's kind of my thing. Everybody has a vice. Everyone has a vice, all right? Some people it's cocaine, some people it's family, some people want it to be success, right? You get to choose your vice. I was choosing the wrong vice because it was about me, right? So when people were talking, when I was around clients who had capital, who had money and were investing, or were, big CEOs, or especially down here where I live now, we're talking like they're CEOs of global companies, and they were my students. It was really weird having these people listen to me because I'm teaching them how to cha-cha, right? It's very, very different power dynamic. But they would talk about money and I have no idea. So I got kind of sick because I knew that I was missing out on what they were doing and what they had. And their lives looked so glamorous. I knew they had problems because they were dancing with me for one, so I was one of them. But I knew they had issues, but I knew that money wasn't one of them, and that seemed to be my biggest one. So I had to take accountability, much like you did, Nelson, and I had to start learning. And it turns out, the surprising part about this, I want everybody else to weigh in on this too, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was. It wasn't as above me. I had more control over it than I realized. It was just a belief that I don't know where I picked up, maybe from hearing my parents as a kid saying we couldn't afford that, or stop, that costs too much, or we can't do this because it's too much money. Like, maybe it came from there. Maybe I always thought the dollar was something way above me and I had no idea of how to obtain it. Does anybody else relate to that? Can anybody else feel that that was what money is to them? Like, it's that experience of, that's what wealth is, that's what money is that investing? Anybody else? Chat box, raise your hand. You can talk. You're allowed to unmute yourselves and talk here. Yeah, thank you. I'm not, Tony Robbins. There are only like 12 of us on here. You can chat. No? Okay, no one wants to chat?
Definitely.
No?
Definitely. I think it's environmental. I think that it's totally learned. I think my parents still have this kind of scarcity money mindset that as I evolve, and my sister was just telling me about somebody who made I can't remember it was, they're making like a couple $1,000s or something like that a month. And I was like, that's nothing. I'm like, now that I understand that, like, how money is going to increase and inflation and all these other things, I'm like, we need to be millionaires in order to retire and not be working. It's like, it's just that mindset shift needs to happen, because otherwise we have all of these limited beliefs that we definitely that were taught to us by our parents and the communities that we live in.
I love that you just said that. And the scarcity mentality is something that yes, really is.
Yeah.
What do you think, Derek?
I mean, I feel the same, I feel the same about it. I mean, it's, now I'm on two cameras. We're getting a job, and getting a job to earn money is a hard row to hoe, right? Because there's never enough money, and then you don't have enough time to do anything else, right? So you're working over 40 hours and you barely got enough money to squeeze out some bills. And then what? Then you're stuck wondering, what in the world am I doing? I've had as many jobs as I've had working years, and ain't none of them paid me enough to get off of that hamster wheel. So
You mean your job's not making you a millionaire?
it will now, you know. But, you know, no, it wasn't then. You know, I was making somebody else millions. I was saving them more money than they were paying me, and I couldn't even get a bonus. So I was done. I said, no, we got to go and find a different way. And we all, you know, Robert Kiyosaki to the rescue.
It's been well said. I have to say, this has been such a cool experience because while everyone else has been stuck trying to figure out what to do with this quarantine, there have been a handful of individuals, I'm not talking just us, but just there have been a handful of people who never stopped hustling, who never stopped trying to adapt or try to figure out how to make the situation work to their advantage, whether that was health-wise or monetarily wise or community-wise. And I have to say, it has been, I want everybody to play this game. And you're going to say it out loud. So get ready to unmute your microphones, bitches. You're going to participate. And we're going to start with Nelson, and then we're going to pass it on. All right, I'm going to start with this sentence. You're going to fill in the blank. If it hadn't been for COVID, I wouldn't have what? Nelson?
A business.
Ooh,
I wouldn't have never done it.
that's awesome. Well done. Carlos? Hit the space bar. You'll unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. This team, this group, if it wasn't for COVID.
I would say the same exact thing. Yeah. So that's taken. Autumn.
Took my answer. Damn it. Damn it.
If it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have invested in myself.
Well done. Derek.
If it hadn't been for COVID, I wouldn't have taken a chance and left my comfort zone.
Literally, you drove here. Showed at my front door. I don't know. Cool. Thanks. I want my couch back. I've got two others. Martin, good to see you again. If it hadn't been for COVID, what wouldn't you have right now?
Oh, that's a hard one. For me, I don't know. I just miss Nelson's classes. That's why I popped in here to say hi.
Aw. He's a kind of cool dude most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Martin, did you know that he was gay as hell, or is this news to you?
What a surprise.
What a surprise. Got it. Well, it's important to think about it because if you don't know what good you would have had with COVID, something you want to realize is this is 4.5 months. That's 4.5 months of your life we're not getting back, right? So if you haven't done something to try to find a purpose in your day, we got to find that. And we're here to help you. For anybody who needs that support, that's what our community does. We support each other. So we'll come back to you, Martin. You're not off the hook yet. Oh yeah, you like the back of my vest? It's cute, right?
Ready.
Oh, I just popped something. Okay. All right. So that was just for Liz. Derek, wait, I've already gotten you. You moved. Bo, if it wasn't for COVID, what would you not have?
I would not have taken the time to read a book and watch a Netflix documentary, as well as riding as much as I did on my bike to have the idea to start my own company. And chiming in with what everybody else said, I wouldn't be part of this team and on a board of some pretty badass people to change the world. So
Back at you, Bo.
yeah.
God, I love this group. Leanne, same question, new answer.
Of course, I wouldn't have the chance to meet this group here. You know, if it's not COVID-19, we won't be forming this group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the other part that I'm back to the gratitude exercise again, and I'm glad that I'm doing it. The other thing is I'm actually doing 6 days of exercise. If I'm not in COVID, I won't be able to do it because, you know, now it's a commitment that either you get a YouTube video or whatever, you just watch it and then you just do exercise. So I'm committed to do exercise every day except Sunday. And then the other thing is my relationship with the kids, because they're home all the time and the husband is home all the time. So either you have conflict or you work out the conflict, or you have better relationship. That's what I think I gain a lot from there.
That is so sweet. Yeah, their kids are always here. I understand that all too well. The difference between you and me is yours came out of you, mine did not. So a blessing to you, dear. She's awesome. I love you, Leanne. You're fantastic. I always try to make sure we apologize to Leanne because she knows this group by now. She knows people swear and her kids are like this big. So I'm like, okay, make sure they're not there for this, please. So she sends them outside to go run errands or chase a dog, or I don't know what you do, but I'm glad you make it here, honey. Okay, so let's see. Who's next? Where's the list? Up, Leanne. Oh, we're on the next screen. Okay, we are on to Jamie. If it wasn't for COVID.
Hi, Jacob. Hi, guys. Give me 1 sec. Hold on. 20 premium, please. Okay, sorry about that. If it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't be doing business outside of New Jersey. My business was very much in Jersey. I was driving like freaking 40,000 miles a year. And because I got to stay in my room for like all this month.
All right.
Now, Florida, New Hampshire, California, all over pretty much. And so I really had a chance to change my my business model. I think I would have met you anyway, because I went to Legacy, to Elite, yeah. And I met Chris, and I somehow would have met you. And I'm very grateful that I got to meet you, everyone on this group. And I've already had an interest in learning about real estate. It was a blessing to have come across you. I think same thing happened to me. Just, I don't know, reached out on Facebook, and then all of a sudden we were like, I was plugging in, and I was just delighted to have that opportunity. So very grateful. I do find that COVID, has been crazy for a lot of people, but it's also created a lot of opportunity. And I think that I committed when we went into the crisis that I was going to come out of it on top, and that I was going to not only find ways to win, but inspire other people to do the same. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Jacob.
I'm glad you found us too. You're kind of, and also I like how you've been so honest with what you've experienced, especially since you're a financial planner. I know that with my ex, your image is everything in that industry. So you've been very open and honest with us, which makes me trust you, which is a big deal. Well, I'm getting there at least. You are still a New Yorker. Anyway, I'm kidding. Well, you are New Yorker, but that's the point. Hector and Liz, I don't know if your mic is working or your screen is not. I don't know what your case is anymore, but if it wasn't for COVID, you wouldn't have what?
If it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't have been able to join Survivor Quarantine Edition. It's been so awesome, and we've learned so much, and still learning. And through it, we've met all of you guys, and it's been awesome.
Well, thank you.
I would piggyback on that, what Hector would say, and then I would just add that we wouldn't have been able to complete a fitness challenge with our kids. We did a 30-day Biggest Loser challenge with our kid, and it ended yesterday, and it was so much fun. So we'll be showing a video of 200 water balloons thrown at the kids because they lost. They're going to get 10 pies to the face. And we took their money because we betted it was a buy-in. So we won the $1,000 jackpot. So they're paying our trip to Colorado Springs.
Nice. I love that. What an awesome. Yeah. So wait, you're actually taking your kids' money, which is fantastic. You should. You gave it to them first anyway. It's yours. So like,
well, the older two.
So how did you talk them into doing a buy-in? How old are your kids, girl?
So the older two, we have a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old, then a 14 and 11. Okay, so the 14-year-old is the only boy. The other three are girls. So when we were in Vegas, when we decided to do our random trip to Vegas, I told Hector, dang, we all have this quarantine love handles on us, and we got to get these kids motivated because they're not active. They were super active before COVID, soccer, karate, all the sports you could possibly think of, dancing, everything. And I was like, our kids are kind of lazy in getting that quarantine love handles there. Let's make a challenge. So I remember The Biggest Loser watching it, and I was like, but let's make it fun. I was like, so we did something similar, and all I said was I sent a massive text to our group, our family group chat, and I said, hey, who's up for a challenge? Kids versus parents. There's 3 ways to win. It's by weight loss, and then it's by gains on the bench and on the squat, because my older daughter and my son, they didn't really have much weight to lose, but they love working out. So I was like, buy-in is $125 for the kids, $250 for dad and I was like, and then the best part is losing team gets 200 water balloons thrown at them against the wall. You cannot move. And then as I can make it even funner, let's add a bonus challenge and include your grandparents, Hector's parents, my in-laws. And I was like, whoever loses the most weight between your grandparents, and you get to choose which grandparent you want on your team, will get 10 cream pies to the face. So whoever loses. So then, yeah, we did it. My in-laws were so pumped about it. My kids selected their grandfather. So we took my mother-in-law. And so when we finally did the weigh-in and we did our gains on how much we were able to lift and all that stuff and squat, we beat them. Not by much, but we beat them, the parents and my mother-in-law. So Friday, we're gonna video them getting water balloons chucked at them and pies to the face. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh,
and then of course, we took the older two money and was like, thanks, we're going to Colorado Springs. You just paid for our tickets.
Oh, how much money was bet? Man,
that's fantastic. Hey, do you want to do it on Investor? Do you want to do it on the call on Friday?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So we know we're doing on Friday. Fantastic. Make sure we tell Nelson, put that on the docket. Okay, got it. So we're all got that covered. That's gonna be so much fun. That was really creative. How much weight did you guys lose? Or
we really didn't lose much. It was we concentrated on the weights because I knew we weren't going to really lose weight, that much, because we all love food. And I think the point of the exercise with the kids was more for them to help each other out. And we told them, you can't blame. Why didn't you lose this much weight? Why didn't you do this? Because if you weren't there encouraging your team member or helping your team member, then it's a group effort. Like, you guys have to win as a group. So we were trying to, teach them little things, throw in little stuff there. And, they had big gains on the squat though. I was pretty scared with my son, but mama came in and I was like, yeah, got you guys.
Yes, I'm going to have to work on my squats now. You see, in Florida, summer is our winter where everybody else, stays inside. That's what we do in the summer because it's a little hot, So I got to start getting my winter body ready, which is appropriate. I've already lost 13 pounds, so we'll keep it going. Yeah, it's fine. Nice. If I hadn't been for COVID, I'd be 13 pounds fatter. Yay. Well, more, because everybody else here is drinking a crap ton and eating a lot of damn horrible thing. Oh my goodness. But yeah, we have done so much as a community. I'm so glad you guys are here, and it's been amazing. And this is only a part of our community, and you guys are awesome. I say it every time. I'm just honored to know you. Yeah, if it hadn't been for COVID, I wouldn't have learned to trust myself. That's something that was pretty big for me. But also notice that because we've all been here together and we've had this super brain going on, it's helped us all stay in a positive mindset. We all have our days. There are things that come up. There are issues that are always, it's not like a constant optimism, but it's a positive mindset. I think that's actually been the reason why we've all done so much. Bye, Liam, we love you. So this was a great segue to talking about what's coming up down the pipeline. For those of you who don't know, Nelson has stepped up as our COO in our organization and has created an actual organization where I just happen to be the pretty face and he has to be the brains. It's wonderful. So what I also love about our organization is that everyone gets a second chance, right? So there are people here who, like Nelson was so brave to share, have had battles and ghosts in our closet with drugs and addiction and There are other people in our community who have had to serve time to atone for sins in their past or whatever it is. It's just been amazing that everyone's come together and they are really supporting each other regardless, because it's not about where you've been. It's not about where you've been. It's where you want to go. Where do you want to go? Because you are in control of that.
Forward.
Yeah, let's just go up. Why not? Go gaily forward. That's right. Let's make it happen. It's a good time. So Nelson is helping me with a, oh, bye, Martin. We were going to tell you this part. So make sure he finds this part next. We are going to be launching Stock Market Survivor starting on Monday. Yay! So if you sign up for Stock Market Survivor, you're going to be getting that email today. And you'll be getting the information on more information on that in that email to fill out the survey and get things moving if you already have filled out the survey. The next thing about Bo is going to be our coordinator for that. Hello, Bo. And Pam is going to be helping out. She's saying hi. So he's going to be your coordinator. So you'll be getting to know him quite well. And after about 7 p.m., he doesn't wear a shirt at all. So just so you're all aware. And neither does Nelson. But typically, I only talk to one at a time. So we're going to have Summer Survivor. Yes, Colorado Springs. For those of you who want to join us in Colorado Springs to open up our second Sherlock's Homes, we are going to be doing that the week of September 4th. It's Labor Day weekend. We're going to, Memorial Day weekend. Wait, Labor Day weekend, that's the one. I was getting mixed up, right? So anyway, Labor Day weekend, we're going to be heading there. We're going to be there for a week. Come whenever you want to come. We're going to be doing a whole lot of fun things together, as well as remodeling the home that's going to be housing our next set of individuals who are deserving of a chance. Then we are going to be going to Alpine Education is now officially on our site. For those of you who are interested, go to Investor Party. You can sign up there. You can use the promo code that is on the site to get the first training for $99. $99. Let's see. Then invitation to Zoom is been done, blah, 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 blah. You have done that, done that. I have a board. I'm not just talking to nobody. Yeah.
I don't see a board.
Asshole. So then we're gonna, what I also want you guys to do, we're gonna be talking about this in the email, is we are going to be doing a testimonial, something short and sweet, something just like Hector did. You're so awesome, buddy. We're gonna talk about like what you learned on Real Estate Survivor and what you've taken, because drum roll, please. We are starting Real Estate Survivor Season 2, Phase 2, coming up at the beginning of next month. We're actually going to start it while we are in Colorado. Actually, it's going to be the Monday after, so we won't be, because it's Labor Day, we won't do it that day. But we will do the weekend after Labor Day. So we're going to be launching it then. That's going to be a ton of fun. If you are interested in doing that, we are going to be putting the link up on Friday for you to go and enroll. Now, this is going to be a little twist for you. If you want to enroll, the price is going to include 2 people. We aren't doing a discount for 1 person. We are only doing it for 2 people. If you want to do it alone, that's fine. Don't care, honey. It's still going to be a good time. What I'm trying to teach you to do from the very beginning is to be selective of your business partner. I'm going to give you permission to not bring your spouse in if you don't work well together. Liz and Hector, they work fantastically together. They're allowed. Wonderful. They put their kids to slave labor. That's how I know it's working well. Great job, honey. Wonderful. Love you too. So, but if you don't get along with your spouse or they're not supportive, that's fine. Find someone else who is interested in joining you in your journey. We're going to be teaching you how to locate properties in other markets. You're going to learn how to market to them in several different ways, including cold calls, direct mail campaigns, how to negotiate a contract, how to find the value of a property. And you're going to be doing this for our nonprofit, Sherlock's Homes. You're going to be giving back by helping us find properties around the country so that we can actually create opportunities for homeless kids to find a second chance. You'll help us change the conversation around youth homelessness. And at the same time, you'll be building your business in your market so you can also start investing in real estate in your backyard. So that's going to be coming up on Friday, and I think that's just about everything I've got to cover. Nelson, my darling, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you. thank you for having me, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to share my story, and hopefully it's inspiring, and if you know any young people who need mentoring, send them my way. I like talking to those people, those people, Generation Z.
I want you to actually be one of the mentors for our kids in the house on Wednesday or Sunday. Just talk to them. Yeah, because they're just like that. And you know, whatever you can't get through, I'll just make Liz provide a challenge and beat them to that. Yeah, I would love to hit them with something. Not a crowbar. I'm talking like a water balloon. That's a great idea.
2 crowbars?
Love to. In Colorado Springs, we'll come up with the plan.
It's funny because the COVID diet has definitely started to take a hold of a couple of the kids. Have you noticed? Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's all right. They're 18. They're still skinny, but not for long.
They're still elastic.
Oh God, I know.
They can still bounce back. You know.
Yeah, I still got those last 5 pounds I'm trying to get off. They're sitting around my hips like from 2014. Anyway, moving on. You guys are awesome. I can't wait to see you on Wednesday. We are going Friday, where we are going to have our stock market update and Liz and Hector beating their kids with pies and water balloons. This is going to be awesome. So guys, I'll see you then. You're fantastic. Mwah!
Bye guys.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.